All right, long time we don't reason now. Whole heap of things going on in the world. Just want to reason a little bit. First on my mind right now is immigration. Immigration, obviously I'm a Jamaican. I'm an immigrant myself. And there's a lot that's going on in the world right now that just bring immigration to my mind. Starting off with the presidential election and really in the Republican presidential campaign, the tone that has been set around immigration. Starting off with Donald Trump and his words, basically implying that Mexicans, when they come here, they're all drug dealers and rapists and murderers and in his words, some, I suppose, are good people. He started off a conversation that way. It started off the wrong way. As an immigrant myself, and somebody who knows a lot of immigrants, probably most of my friends are immigrants or first, second generation. And I understand why people come here, right? People don't come here to cause trouble and make up a bunch of, cause a bunch of problems. We come here to make a living, right? If you imagine somebody who has lived in a certain place for their entire life, all their friends are there, everything else, all their family is there, everything that is comfortable to them is there, except the opportunity to make a living. So when you make that decision to pack up and go and live in a whole new place that you've never lived in before, you do that to make a living, right? From the very beginning of the United States, this nation has been built up by immigrants. Whether it be, the involuntary immigrants, such as the African slaves that were brought here to build up the country. Voluntary migration that happened with, Italians and Irish and all that. That is the lifeblood of this nation. This nation is what it is because of immigration. I always say, something about having an immigrant mindset. Immigrants don't come here to play around, right? We don't come here to sit down and waste time and live off government and all that. No, we don't. We come here because we are afforded opportunities in what is a great country that we wouldn't have back home. So we come here to make things happen. I just saw an article today that says of Black Americans, foreign-born Black Americans earn 30% more than native-born Black Americans. That is, if you can apply it across the board, it's not really saying anything about the native-born population. What it's really saying is that immigrants come here with a definite purpose, right? We're not going to come here and sit around and idle. We wouldn't have made that sacrifice to leave our homes if we're just going to come here and idle. So we come here, we're going to school, we're building businesses, and we're working and doing all sorts of work. A lot they say that work that Americans don't want to do. So when I hear ridiculous things like Donald Trump talking about deporting 12 million people, right? Not only is it impractical to drive around city to city and round up all the illegal immigrants and deport them, not only is that impractical and won't happen, it would be catastrophic for this economy. I mean, something like this was kind of attempted in Alabama. Right, Alabama, there's a particular city in Alabama where they passed all these laws making it difficult for immigrants to exist, and so what happened is the immigrants voluntarily got up and left the city in droves. Their entire agricultural sector plummeted. you know, because they couldn't find people to do that work, to pick those fruit, pick those vegetables, and it caused a dramatic decrease in the output of that region. That's just a small city in Alabama someplace. Now imagine you take up 12 million people and force them back home. What is it going to do? Not only the work that they used to do, that other people don't want to do in many cases, will not get done. Not only that, but those people spend billions of dollars, are worth billions of dollars in tax revenue. Yes, tax revenue. You know, studies have been done that shows, you know, the IRS can conclude that, I forgot the exact number, but immigrants contribute billions in terms of income tax revenue, even though they may not have social security numbers and it's not exactly traceable, but the government still gets the money regardless. They spend in their local economies, you know, so it just doesn't make any sense financially. So, you know, I think we need to change our conversation about this immigration issue. Obviously, I understand that it's a process. You know, you can't just let in everybody, and yeah, because that's not good either. You can't just everybody open the door and just floodgate, everybody comes rushing in, because it's going to cause chaos. So you have to do it in a practical way. But let's start from the point of realizing the value of immigrants to this nation. Yes, it matters to that immigrant as well, but to this nation that has been built on immigration, you know, it also matters to the survival of this nation. Immigrants bring a fresh mindset, fresh hunger, fresh passion, fresh dreams in order to make things happen. So that's the conversation we need to be having about immigration. You know, and related to immigration, you know, as I've been looking at, you know, the situation with the refugees over in Europe, and you know, if that don't tug on your heartstrings, something wrong with you. You know, because you imagine people being faced with that choice. You know, at home where you live, where you're from, there is warfare and all sorts of stuff going on in Syria and Iraq and all these places, and you have to escape. You have to leave there, or your entire family dies. So these people walk miles and miles upon miles to escape these war-torn nations in order to get to a place of new opportunity. And you know, they get stuck in refugee camps, and you know, it's a difficult situation, because I understand all those nations in that region, as much as many want to help, they can't help everybody. It's not practical. That rush of immigrants, refugees coming in at one time, it's just a difficult situation. I don't have a bunch of great answers for that. You know, it's something that we have to, you know, not just pray about, but you know, do something about. I really have to think about the people who kind of go unnoticed in these situations is those relief workers. What would happen without those relief workers? Because not all these countries are letting in these immigrants, these refugees. So what happens? They are stuck in limbo, they don't have a home, and there are people there who have to care for them. They have to provide medicine for them, provide food, provide shelter. You know, hundreds and thousands of people, and they have refugee camps all over the world. So I mean, it's a call to humanity. These are things that we often don't think about. You know, as we sit here with the Pope visiting the U.S. this week, and I think his visit was timely, because you know, there's a lot that's going on in the world where we need to change our thinking, our perspective on things, and not look at it through our typical lens of politics or what's good for me, what's good for my family, and think at a higher level regarding humanity. You know, there is a lot that's going on in the world, and you know, we have to approach it from a different perspective and just think about helping our fellow man. It's a call to everybody. You know, we can all do something more. We have needs, you know, individual needs, our family needs. Beyond that, we have needs in our community, in our local communities, and there are a ton of needs worldwide. And you would just have to appeal to the humanity within people. So these are issues: immigration, the refugee situation, that calls for humanity. You know, you have to do it wisely, and you have to do it orderly, and you have to do it in ways that are practical. But we need to think in terms of how can I be a good citizen of this world? That's kind of the bottom line, you know. So it's a long time with no reason now, and you know, these are some things that have been on my mind, and I just wanted to talk over them, and you know, and just hear what you have to say. So that's this edition of Just Reasoning. Drop some comments and let's talk about it. All right, one love.